Welcome to this latest edition of Love and Money. My name is Joel Solomon. I'm a prosperity coach. Here's Tony Veer. He's a relationship coach. And today we're going to be talking about relative investment returns and relative risk. So I'm going to be talking about three different types of investments: real estate, stocks, and bonds. So as many of you know, when you buy real estate, you can buy a house, commercial real estate that's worth $1 million for 10 to 20% down. Let's just use 10%. So for $1 million property, you're putting $100,000 of your own money into that investment, which means that let's assume that investment is worth 10% more in a year. So it goes from 1 million to 1.1 million, and you sell it. Now you've made $100,000 on your $100,000. You've actually got a 100% return on your investment. Not bad.
Not bad.
Now, this can be fairly common in the real estate market, right? An investment can move 10% up or down. And so what that is leverage. You have access to 10 times your amount that you've actually invested in. We call that leverage in the investment community, financial leverage. And so there's more risk in real estate than there is in stocks or bonds because of that leverage. And so therefore you should expect a higher return for your risk. So that's real estate. Now with a stock, unless you're investing in options, and for those of you who want to know about stock options, in my view, you can go onto Salaurmor.com. That's SALAURMOR.com, and go into the investing section, and I give you for free, you get a white paper on stock options. But we're not going to talk about stock options today. We're just talking about stocks. And for stocks, there's no leverage. And so you should expect, now there is some risk. You own a percentage of the company, and so there's some movement in the value of the company from day to day, from week to week, month to month, year to year. And so there's some risk. It's not as risky as real estate because there's not leverage in the investment, but it is somewhat risky because you own a percentage of the company. And so you should expect for that level of risk a good return. Maybe not as much as in real estate, but a good return. Now with bonds, the third investment I want to talk about today, you are lending money. So there's less risk in lending money to someone than there is in taking an ownership stake in the company. If a company goes bankrupt and you own 1% of the company, you get nothing. Whereas if you have lent them money, you could actually still get money back when you lend money to a company. So there's less risk in bonds than there is in stocks or real estate. So you should expect a lower return for that lower level of risk. So I'll turn it over to Tony to talk about how that relates to relationships.
Yes. So there's three different types of investments, three main types, and there's three main types of relationships that you want to invest in. So the first one is about dating. It's like getting to know somebody, being able to hang out with them, go do some fun stuff, right? Getting to know them, feeling the chemistry and all of that stuff. And you want to invest in that because how you want to invest is to find out if this person is actually good enough for you to take it to the next level, right? So the more you're able to invest accurately, because you've qualified this person, you're able to see what's going on with them, the better off you'll be able to have the dating experience be fun and exciting. And then also it helps you to identify whether it makes sense to go into the next stage of relationship, which is the relationship, which is the exclusivity. Right. So we're together, and now we're looking at how can we blend our lives together, how can we, share our family, our experiences, and all of that stuff. And we're only going to be with this particular person. So that takes a lot more of an investment because you've got to be willing to have things go wrong. You got to be willing to stand for your partner. Yeah. You've got a lot of things you've got to put into that had nothing to do with money, and money's going to be in the relationship too. Right. So then that's the second thing. And then the third thing is to commit to marriage. Now that is the ultimate investment because you're bringing everything. You're actually creating a business together when you become married. Because if you decide that after doing that you don't want to be married, the law is going to be tearing your business apart. Whether it's like splitting the house, the value of the house in half, or whatever that is, child support, all of that stuff. So those becomes a huge financial investment in commitment as well. And so you want to really make sure that when you say I do and your partner says I do, that you're completely committed. There's nothing going to take you out of it. Because if you're not, then you are increasing the risk of your relationship going poorly and the investment that you have in it, as well as really yourself. You're just going to tear yourself apart. So that's how I can see the connection between those two.
So I'd like to recommend a book which has some of the basics of investing and talks about relative risk. It's The 9 Steps to Financial Freedom. It's an older book, but it's a great book by Susie Orman. It's sold over 3 million copies. Highly recommend that. I think it's chapter 6 where she gets into the different types of investments, the basics of mutual funds versus exchange traded funds and stocks. So recommend that book. I don't know if you have one that you might want to recommend too.
I actually do. I just got it just a second.
Okay.
So there's this great author who's great at communication, and her name is Dr. Deborah Tannen, and she's got a book called You Just Don't Understand. It was written in the 1990s, but it will help you to understand how to invest in your partner, because it will help you understand the difference between how men and women communicate, which is really awesome. And what will help you also see is how to understand where you are, whether this person qualifies for you, and all of that stuff. So it's a massive experience more around communication than relationships, but really you need to be able to communicate and understand what's going on so that you can invest powerfully. So that's what I say. Dr. Deborah Tannen's You Just Don't Understand.
So you'll be able to get those on solomore.com. If you go into the Get Inspired section, I have a list of books, and those books are there as well. So look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks for watching.
All right.